There is a big air pocket in the Union Civil Aviation Ministry's advisory to airlines to ensure full refund of tickets to passengers without any cancellation charges during the lockdown. Now, if you look at clauses 3.1 and 3.2 of this advisory with a fine-tooth comb, you will realize that it only pertains to tickets bought during the period of the lockdown and not prior to the announcement of the lockdown. Which means if you booked a ticket before the 25th of March, then you will not be eligible for this refund as mandated by the Civil Aviation Ministry's advisory. Now, the ministry, as far as the first lockdown between the 25th of March and the 14th April is concerned, has also mentioned as a rider that the airline should have received payment during the period of the first lockdown. Now, most of us would have booked tickets well before the lockdown was announced. And in most cases, the payment and the booking would be a simultaneous process unless you are a company with credit facilities. So, which means for most passengers, this relief will be beyond their category. Now, as far as the second lockdown is concerned, from the 15th April to the 3rd of May, how many passengers would have actually booked tickets when there was uncertainty in the air? When they did not know whether the lockdown would be announced, would be extended, or whether it would be lifted. So in this case also, a lot of passengers will be beyond the pale of this relief sought to be granted by the Civil Aviation Ministry. Now, many passengers have written, I am told, to airlines, and many airlines have responded saying, offering them a sort of a deferred vouchers for a whole year. Like there's a cousin of mine who's a lawyer in Mangalore who's booked tickets to travel to Mumbai during the period of the lockdown much earlier in February, and he's been given what they call a credit shell up to the end of February 2021. Now, how many of us would actually be able to travel during that period? Because we know that the summer vacation usually comes between April and May. So in this case also, the relief granted by these airlines is hardly anything, and it may not really serve the purpose. Secondly, these airlines then will sit on the interest that will accrue on account of the money pending in their accounts. Secondly, they will also insure themselves against any possible drop in airfares in a recessionary economy. So either which way, it's the passenger who stands to lose and not the airlines. Now, it's important to understand when it comes to refunds. Now, refunds are governed by the Carriage by Air Act, Amendment Act of 2016, as well as by the refund policy of the particular airlines. Now, understand the breakup of airfare. I mean, you have different components. You have airline fuel charge, you have service tax, you have passenger service fee, you have a convenience fee, you have a common user terminal fee, you have insurance, and you have surcharges and cess. You must understand that taxes go to the government, but surcharges go to the airlines' coffers. It's important, I think, for us to understand that many of these disclaimers that airlines have not always stood judicial scrutiny. They are liable to be grounded by judicial intervention. In fact, I see some of these disclaimers, and if airlines refuse to actually refund tickets, at least a large chunk of the money paid, that may constitute an unfair trade practice actionable under Section 21R of the Consumer Protection Act. As far as refunds go, the government, in fact, may at some point give airlines a financial parachute in the form of bailout packages. But spare a thought for the common passenger who will have to have his belts fastened on the ground.